In the heart of the Nigerian savannah, under the endless African sky, there was a village where time seemed to stand still. The small community of Ayodele was nestled beside a great river, which flowed with wisdom and age-old secrets. Life in Ayodele was simple, yet rich with culture. People lived by the rhythms of nature, planting, harvesting, and celebrating the bounty of the earth. But there was one thing that set this village apart. The elders spoke often of a prophecy, passed down through generations, about a child who would walk 1,000 miles to reunite a fractured family. The boy, they said, would be born under the red moon and would carry with him the weight of his ancestors. This boy, named Ayodele, was born on one such red moon. His mother, Ayodele, a woman of great beauty and wisdom, had suffered many years of heartbreak before the birth of her son. She had prayed for a child, a son, to carry on her family's legacy. And when Ayodele finally arrived, it was as if the entire village had been blessed. His deep brown eyes sparkled with the fire of ambition, and his smile lit up the darkest days. But what stood out most was the mark on his wrist, a peculiar scar shaped like a crescent moon. The village elders whispered in awe, for they knew that this child was destined for something greater than anyone could understand. But as the years went by, Ayodele began to ask questions his mother would always dodge. "Where is my father, Mama? Why don't I have a father like the other children?" The woman's heart ached with every word, but she would always respond with a calm smile, "Your father is in the land of spirits, watching over us. He will come back one day." But deep inside, Ayodele knew that the truth was far more complicated. Dorogoye had been part of a larger conflict, one that the village had been fighting for years. A long-standing feud had divided families, pitting kin against kin. It was a war fought not with swords, but with whispered lies and broken promises. And as the conflict deepened, Dorogoye had been swept into the storm, vanishing without a trace. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the red moon rose in the sky, Ayodele woke from a vivid dream. In this dream, he saw his father, standing tall and proud on the banks of the same river that ran beside their village. He called out to Ayodele, his voice both powerful and sorrowful. "My son," the voice echoed, "you are the one who must restore what was lost. The time has come for you to walk 1,000 miles to find your family. You must go beyond the river, past the hills of the north, to the land where the sun rises. Only then will you find the truth." Ayodele woke with a start, his heart pounding in his chest. His mother was asleep beside him, her breath steady. But something inside him had changed. The dream felt real, and the pull to find his father was stronger than ever before. He knew that this was no ordinary dream, but a call from the ancestors themselves. The following morning, Ayodele went to the elders and asked them about his dream. The old men and women, who had long seen the signs of the red moon's arrival, were silent for a moment. Finally, the eldest elder, Baba Afolabi, spoke in his deep, measured voice. "The ancestors have spoken to you, Ayodele," he said. "Your journey will not be easy, but you must go. The spirits will guide you, but the road ahead will be fraught with trials. You will face hunger, fear, and uncertainty. But remember the words of our ancestors, he who is guided by wisdom will never lose his way, trust in the teachings of our people, and you will find your path." With his heart set, Ayodele bade his mother farewell, promising that he would return. He packed little more than a small bag of dried fish and maize, a knife for protection, and a blanket. As he left the village, the people gathered to watch him go. Some whispered prayers for his safe return, while others spoke in hushed tones about the prophecy that had been foretold. But Ayodele did not look back. His mind was focused on one thing, finding his father and restoring what had been torn apart. Ayodele's journey took him through thick forests and over rugged hills. He passed through villages where people looked at him with curiosity and suspicion. Each time he entered a new settlement, he would ask the same question, "Do you know the man called Dorogoye? Have you seen him?" Some people answered kindly, telling him of the places his father had visited long ago. Others refused to speak, their faces darkening at the mention of his name. Ayodele grew accustomed to the cold stares and the silence. Yet, he pressed on, his heart filled with determination. One day, as he reached a village near the edge of the savannah, he met an old woman named Nana F. She was sitting by a fire, singing softly to herself, her gnarled hands weaving a basket. When Ayodele asked her about his father, her face darkened, and she motioned for him to sit beside her. "You seek your father, child?" she asked, her voice raspy with age. "I know the man you speak of, but beware. The road you travel is one that many have tried to walk and failed." Ayodele listened intently as the woman spoke of the deep-rooted conflict between families, the betrayal that had torn their lives apart, and the curse that had followed Dorojoye. Nana F explained that the conflict had not only been about land or power, it was about a betrayal so deep that it reached the gods themselves. Dorojoye had been part of a deal with the spirits, but when he had turned his back on the promise, the spirits had taken him away. Yet, his soul remained trapped, waiting for the one who could break the curse. The woman handed Ayodele a small carved wooden figure. "Take this with you," she said. "It is a symbol of protection. When the time comes, it will guide you through the darkness." With the wooden figure in his hand, Ayodele thanked Nana F and continued his journey, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. As the days turned into weeks, Ayodele encountered many more obstacles. There were times when he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, when hunger gnawed at his stomach, and when the harsh sun beat down on him relentlessly. But he pressed on, remembering the words of his mother and the elders, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step." Finally, after many months of travel, Ayodele arrived in the distant village of Ilesha, far to the north. It was a land where the sun rose with a brilliance that could blind the unprepared. The villagers here spoke a different language, and their customs were strange to Ayodele. But in his heart, he knew he was close to the end of his journey. One evening, as he sat under the shade of a large baobab tree, an old man approached him. He was bent with age, his body wrapped in a flowing robe of deep red cloth. His eyes gleamed with wisdom, and his voice carried the weight of countless years. "You have come far, child," the man said, his voice soft but strong. "You seek the truth of your father's fate, but are you ready to face what you will find?" Ayodele nodded solemnly. "I have walked 1,000 miles. I am ready." The man smiled sadly. "Your father is not lost, but neither is he free. He made a pact with the spirits long ago, one that bound him in ways you cannot yet understand. But you, Ayodele, are the key. You were born under the red moon for a reason. The journey you have taken will lead you to a place where the living and the dead are not so different." The old man led Ayodele to a hidden cave in the mountains, a place known only to a few. Inside the cave, Ayodele saw a figure tall, strong, and hauntingly familiar. It was his father, Dorojoye. But he was not the man Ayodele had imagined. His father's eyes were hollow, and his face was etched with pain. He was bound to the cave by the same curse that had taken his soul. In that moment, Ayodele understood. The 1,000-mile journey had not only been to find his father, it had been to free him from the chains of betrayal and obsession that had bound him. With the carved figure given to him by Nana F, Ayodele broke the curse, allowing his father's spirit to be released. As Dorojoye's soul ascended, he whispered his final words to Ayodele, "You are the one who has broken the cycle. You have freed me, my son. Now it is your time to live." Ayodele returned to Ayodele, not as a boy who had set out on a journey, but as a man who had walked through fire and returned with wisdom. The village welcomed him with open arms, for they knew the story of the boy who had walked 1,000 miles to restore his family. And though Ayodele never forgot the trials he faced or the sacrifice his father made, he also knew that the true gift was not in finding his family, but in understanding that even in the deepest darkness, there is always a way to find the light. His story became a legend, one that was passed down from generation to generation, a reminder to all that no matter the obstacles, a true son or daughter will always return to their roots.
highlifeng.com